Okay, for review packet number 2, I want you to remember a couple things. The domain are your x's, and your range are your y values. And a relation is a function if it doesn't have any repeating x values or passes the vertical line test. So on 1 through 5, you're going to determine whether or not it's a relation and a function. Okay? And like on number 1, what I did was I just basically put all the domain there. So I listed all the x's right here, and the squiggly lines means it's a set. Okay? And then the corresponding range, notice I did not repeat the negative ones. They only repeat once. So negative 1, 2, and 5 is your domain. 0, 2, 3, and 7 is your range. And is it a function? The answer is no, because the negative 1 repeats. So you're going to do number 2 through 5, same thing, okay? Now, if you look at down here, function notation and evaluating function, you're basically just going to plug in the f of 5. So you're going to plug in that 5 in for x. You're going to plug in the 4. You want to find f of 4 minus f of 9. So you're going to plug in f of negative 4 into the equation. Then you're going to plug in f of 9, and then the two results you will subtract. Okay? Number 2 and number 4, you basically plug in the negative 2, and then on number 4, plug in the negative 6. Okay, on this page, basically on number 5, it says find the range. This is just like the previous problems, except I give you a set of negative 2, 0, and 1, so you're going to plug in f of negative 2. And then you're going to find out what that answer is. Then you're going to plug in f of 0. Find out what that answer is, and then finally f of 1, and find out what that answer is. You're going to do the same thing on number 6. You're basically finding the corresponding range for the domain. If you want to create a t-chart, you can as well. On the portion down below, the zeros of a function are where it passes through the x-axis. And to find zeros, set the equation equal to 0. So remember, you have number 1 through 9 here. You have a graph. So basically, just pinpoint where the zeros are. Tell me what that coordinate point is. Same thing with number 3. What are the zeros? Tell me what those coordinate points are. On number 4, it's linear. 5 is linear. Just plug in 0 for x. I'm sorry, set the equation equal to 0, like 2/5 x minus 4 equals 0, and solve for x. Now, number 6 and number 9 and number 8 and number 7 are all quadratics, but this is a solving by square root method. These you'll have to factor, and factor. Now, if they're not factorable, you have to use the quadratic formula. On number 3, on page 3, there are 4 types of slope. Remember, this is like my little story that goes positive, negative, 0, undefined. So those are the 4 slopes. You got to find the slope. So count. I've given you 2 points. Like on number 1, just do rise over run. Number 2, rise over run. Number 3, rise over run. And number 4, rise over run. Number 3, well, if you look at number 3 is undefined. So you just write undefined. The slope formula is you take y minus y over x minus x. So remember, it's x comma y. So you're going to do, on this one, you'll do like, say, negative 1 minus negative 4 over negative 12 minus negative 3. This becomes plus plus, this becomes plus plus. So on top, you end up getting, since we're doing our slope here, you end up getting positive 3 over negative 9, which reduces down to a negative 1/3. And there's your answer. You're going to do the same thing with 2, 3, and number 4. That's not 24, that's a 4. Sorry, that's a typo. Down below, slope-intercept form. M is your slope, B is your y-intercept. Create the equation. And on the last page, here is standard form, ax plus by equals c. Remember, in your x-intercept, you plug in 0 for y and solve for x. For your y-intercept, you plug in 0 for x, you solve for y. And that's what I did to both of these. Then you solve it up here. So you can take those 2 coordinate points. You can take a point right up here. and then, just solve that for y, or solve that equation for y. You subtract the x and then divide everything by -1. And then down here at the bottom, I just need you to graph those equations. And that's pretty much it.